Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hivemind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Something we've been speaking about a lot on this channel lately, of course covering post-2020 election, is media misinformation. And you know, the lefties are constantly talking about misinformation, disinformation, and they always try to pin it on the right. But lefties control information. They control the flow, the big media outlets, social media, culture, you name it. And misinformation was probably one of the biggest factors in the 2020 election and why it turned out the way that it did. Americans were misled. Americans didn't have all of the information that they needed to make an informed decision on that ballot on November 3rd, 2020, the fateful day. And so this video right over here is inspired by actually a Daily Wire piece from Ami Horowitz. He went around in Brooklyn, New York and gave people quotes from Joe Biden's past. Of course, we've seen this game show many times, but it's absolutely astonishing that people who most likely voted in the 2020 election didn't even know that these quotes were attributed to Joe Biden. But of course, everyone knows the quotes that have largely been taken out of context, which are attributed towards the president because they play them pretty much on repeat. But just check out some of these interactions that Ami Horowitz had.
The quote about Barack Obama being bright, articulate, and clean, Joe Biden.
Really? Wow. And that was his VP, like, wow.
Yeah, a little surprised?
Yeah.
Joe Biden again?
Joe Biden again. Joe Biden said to Charlemagne the God.
Wow.
And the last quote about the racial jungle with busing was Joe Biden.
It makes me fearful.
Everybody knows that Joe Biden's racist.
And of course, it's astonishing. This is what misinformation or just lack of information does to the American electorate. This is why the modern media and the tech oligarchs are the most destructive forces in modern society. And so this video is going to be a little bit different than the ones that I usually make. It's actually just a montage. I very often quote Joe Biden's racially insensitive past, the absolutely egregious statements that he's made, but I've never really just put them all into one video. But people need to know this. People need to understand exactly who Joe Biden is. And so what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to show you. Once again, I'm going to show you what the media absolutely refuses to do, especially during the election season. So pay attention and most importantly, share this video with people who are unaware of this information. This is the real Joe Biden.
Abraham Lincoln here is one of the most racist presidents we've had in modern history. He pours fuel on every single racist fire. Every single one. He has moved around and made everything worse across the board.
Not since Abraham Lincoln has anybody done what I've done for the black community. Now, you have done nothing other than the crime bill, which put
oh God,
tens of thousands of black men mostly in jail.
Another thing about how perspectives change over time. Bobby Rush, member of Congress, said the other day, "I'm ashamed that I voted for the '94 crime bill." You ashamed of that bill?
not at all. And in fact, I drafted the bill, as you remember.
I know that.
Unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because as we created them, that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them. We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Mass incarceration has put hundreds of thousands behind bars for minor offenses.
Every major crime bill that's come out of this Congress has had the name Joe Biden on that bill. We do everything but hang people for jaywalking in this bill.
The most racist thing a person could tell me is that I'm supposed to choose something based on my race.
But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking. Not the first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean and a nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
Look at what they value and look at their budget and what they're proposing. Romney wants to he said in the first 100 days, he's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains.
Joe Biden is under fire this evening on comments he made about working alongside segregationist senators in the past.
Biden recalling his early Senate career, bringing up two segregationist senators, Herman Talmadge and James Eastland, who called African Americans an inferior race.
I think the two-party system, although my Democratic colleagues don't like me saying this, I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro, good for the black in the South. Other than the fact that they still call me boy, I think they've changed their mind.
Former Vice President Joe Biden, he's run for president twice before, unsuccessfully. He's never before been the front runner. Now that he is towering over all the other declared Democratic candidates, his almost 5 decades in public life are getting some real scrutiny. On top of that list, his record on civil rights during his younger days as a U.S. Senator. CNN's Jeff Zeleny has exclusively obtained some letters written by Biden himself.
Everybody asks, what kind of Democrat? I'm an Obama-Biden Democrat, man.
After 8 years alongside President Obama, Joe Biden is coming back as a solo act.
I'm ready to go.
With his long record facing a new look under the spotlight of the 2020 campaign.
Gentlemen and ladies of the Senate.
One chapter receiving fresh scrutiny comes from his earliest years in the Senate, when he strongly opposed mandatory school busing. It was designed to achieve integration and a more equitable education. It was the mid-1970s. Biden favored desegregation, but not through busing. What's less known is how he followed the lead of some of the Senate's most fervent segregationists. In a series of never-before-published letters reviewed by CNN, the strength of Biden's opposition to busing comes into sharper focus. On March 25, 1977, Biden wrote, "My bill strikes at the heart of the injustice of court-ordered busing. It prohibits the federal courts from disrupting our educational system."
1977, Biden said integrating black students would turn schools into a jungle, a racial jungle. I don't want my children to grow up in a jungle, a racial jungle.
Wow.
Used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Even call centers, which rushed overseas in the hundreds of thousands. How many times you get the call? I'd like to talk to you about your credit card.
Abraham Lincoln here is one of the most racist presidents we've had in modern history. He pours fuel on every single racist fire. Every single one. And you ain't black.
So yep, there you have it, folks. That's Joe Biden for you. That's the president-elect who's supposedly gonna fix all the social issues and social qualms in the modern day and going to unite Americans. Yep. But honestly, I don't really gotta say anything here in the outro. Joe Biden represented himself and made all of the points very, very clear. And so we'll just leave it at that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Now, of course, I gotta get back to work, so I'm gonna get to that. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.